Steve Scalise joins us right now, Louisiana Congressman, House Minority Whip. Congressman, always good to see you. Did you witness that? Did you see that? What did you think of that?
I did, and look, Neil, it was one of the most disgraceful things I've seen. You know, a State of the Union address. It's a time where we talk about what's great about the country. I mean, the president's theme was the great American comeback, something we all should be celebrating. Clearly, there are political issues that get blended in, and, you know, one side sits down, the other side stands up. Frankly, I was kind of shocked that they would sit down when we were talking about killing terrorists, things that used to unite this country. The fact that they can't even celebrate that. Some of the other things they sat down on, you know, the lowest unemployment for African Americans and Hispanics in the history of our country. We should all celebrate that. But they would sit down for that, so I thought that would look bad for them. But when she did that, ripped the speech, you know, it's just a new low that you see with this impeachment, this personal vendetta that they've had against this president. I think it looks bad upon them. I think people that are watching this at home, you know, that might not agree with everything, that might not be hardcore left or right, that just want the country to be successful, they look at that and they say, wait a minute, these people just don't have the kind of level of respect for what makes America great. And I think in the end, you know, like when you're seeing what's going on in Iowa last night, their party's in a meltdown right now, and maybe it's affecting their better judgment.
Well, you know, I don't know. It's almost like my two teenage boys and get separated if they're fighting with one another. But, well, no, you didn't shake my hand, so this was my natural response. We don't know what was going on there. Did you see that it looked like the president deliberately avoided her or the opportunity to shake her hand?
No, and I mean, when he came in, he was courteous to her at the beginning of the speech. So,
yeah.
You know, again, I think that optic is going to look bad for her ultimately, and that's something she's going to have to answer for. And if that's what they want their party to represent, I think they're going to lose a lot of middle America, the hardworking people, by the way, who are benefiting from the work that President Trump is doing. He truly is rebuilding this country, and whether you agreed with the policies or not, if they're working, you ought to applaud it. Just because you vote for or against a bill, if the bill actually helps people who are doing better. When he talked about, you know, that young girl who didn't have opportunities in a failing school, and now she's able to go to the school of her choice, everybody should applaud that. And so, again, I mean, people are watching this at home, and I think it not only looks childish, it looks disrespectful, and it's a low for the institution to represent yourself as Speaker of the House that way.
You know, there are many on social media following this. Not exactly a quick instant read of the accuracy or what they're, you know, talking or writing about, but they deem this to be a political speech on the part of the president to sort of, you know, get right back in their face and talk about things he knew in that crowd, where half of them, if you think about it, Congressman, wanted to impeach him, remove him from office. And that might still be the case where certainly all 47 Democratic senators tomorrow will want to convict him. Now, he will likely survive that because all the Republicans will vote against doing something like that. So I'm wondering what you make of the divisive nature of this, where half the people in that room wanted the president out, and he was getting right to them, saying, all right, I'm going beyond you. Do you think that was his strategy?
Well, I think it was President Trump saying, I'm not going to be deterred. I mean, this is a president who stared down a lot of people. He stares down bad guys and terrorists. He's taken on China. He's taken on Iran. He stood up for what's great about this country. And again, the theme was the great American comeback because it's working. Again, disagree or agree with policies. You can stand and sit during certain things if you don't agree with a proposal he's laying out.
Yeah,
but when he talks about a result where American families are doing better.
I respect the heck out of you. When you got shot and barely survived that, and it was heroic on your part, what you went through. That united Democrats and Republicans like nothing I've ever seen, maybe going back to 9/11. That's a testament to the respect both parties have for you and the camaraderie they feel for you. But man, oh man, I think in this environment, I'm not blaming the president, I'm not blaming Nancy Pelosi, but I do not think that goodwill exists today. Am I missing something?
It's at a low point, I mean, clearly, and what you talked about, I mean, it was special. When I came back, you saw that there are times when people can come together. We're going to get back to that point. But I think they are so fixated on almost a hatred for the president that it's clouded a lot of other judgment that they should otherwise have. You know, and we're going to get through this election. I think the president's going to get reelected because of the story he had to tell tonight. But they're going to have to figure out how to come together. And when he says, I want to work with Congress to lower drug prices, they ought to be willing to work with him because he wants to do that. On criminal justice reform, that was a very bipartisan bill that was signed by the president that he worked with Democrats on. They ought to get back to that approach of working with him and not just looking at him as a guy they want to beat in an election.
Standing up for that one. But Congressman, thank you very, very much. Good seeing you again.